everyone, and welcome back to the Laundromat. As always, I'm Adam from the AML Shop with another quick hit. Our topic for today is beneficial ownership and foreign buyers of residential real estate. And the reason that this topic is top of mind right now is that as of January 1st, 2023, the Prohibition on the Purchase of Residential Property by Non-Canadians Act came into force. As you can guess from the name, this legislation prohibits non-Canadians from purchasing residential property in Canada, and that prohibition is going to be in place for 2 years. Canadian individuals or companies that counsel or otherwise assist foreign buyers in attempting to circumvent the prohibition can be fined up to $10,000. So this new law defines a few different categories of non-Canadians, which includes an individual that isn't a citizen or a permanent resident, or corporation or other entity that's registered outside of Canada, or a Canadian corporation or other entity that's controlled by one of those first two categories. And it's this last category that I want to take a closer look at. Now, you'll of course recall that the proceeds of crime, money laundering, and terrorist financing regulations require you to take reasonable measures to obtain information about the beneficial ownership and control structure of your entity clients. And that includes the names of the directors of corporations and the names of all individuals and addresses of all individuals that own 25% or more of the entity. Well, the regulations that support this new legislation imposes an even stricter definition of what constitutes control of a corporation or other entity. And there's actually two provisions for establishing control. So the first provision is based on ownership, whereby control is established through directly or indirectly owning 3% or more of either the entity's equity or its voting rights. So 3% is obviously a much lower threshold than 25%, but otherwise this ownership-based control provision is pretty straightforward. The regulations have another more open-ended provision for establishing control, which refers to whether control of the entity exists in fact. And this can be through direct or indirect ownership, through agreement, or otherwise. So in other words, in practice, is there a non-Canadian individual or entity exerting control over the organization? And some examples of control through this provision could include a director of a corporation or a trustee of a legal trust. So what does this mean for you? Well, basically, when you're determining the ownership and control structure of your entity clients, you're going to have to dig a little bit deeper. You're going to have to get a little bit more information. So you're going to need to make a determination of whether there are any non-Canadian individuals or entities that own 3% or more of your entity client or its voting rights. And you're also going to need to determine if there are any non-Canadians that control the entity in fact. And, like I mentioned, this could include determining the citizenship or residency status of a corporation's directors or the trustees of a legal trust. Okay, so that's the end of today's quick hit on foreign buyers and beneficial ownership. If you'd like more information, check us out at www.theamlshop.ca, or you can contact me directly at adam@theamlshop.ca. Thanks for watching.
AML Shop, yeah.